Some folks tell me that I'm picking on the religious, or that I'm persecuting them in some way by making videos responding to religious arguments. In fact, I have no problem with the religious per se. What people think and believe is ultimately their own business. The people to whom I respond are not simply religious, they are religious and preachy. Here in Canada, pushing religion on people is strongly frowned upon. We do, of course, have religious zealots, but unlike in the States, our religious zealots generally seem to understand that pushy judgmentalism is not going to be tolerated. People who are strongly religious usually keep their beliefs and their practices to themselves, so religious folks and non-religious folks generally get along just fine. There doesn't seem to be as much of a culture war here as there is in the States, and I think that's because the fundamentalists here understand that they have already lost, so they just don't see the point of trying to convert the rest of us. But of course we do have the occasional Venomfang X or Psi 10 Bruggen Kate, and it is to those folks, the ones who are not content to keep their religion to themselves and insist upon pushing it on the rest of us, that I make the videos that I do. I don't go after people just for having beliefs that I find silly. I respond to people who tell me why they think I ought to hold those silly beliefs too. And a lot of them don't just tell me that I ought to believe what they do, but that I will be subject to and deserving of punishment if I don't. William James said in his essay The Will to Believe, "We have the right to believe at our own risk any hypothesis that is live enough to tempt our will." He said this in defense of holding religious beliefs, and I have no problem with this assertion. If you feel strongly tempted to believe in something, even if you have little or no evidence for it, whether you believe it is your own business, as long as it is at your own risk. The reason I argue against apologists is because they are not content to simply believe at their own risk. They wish to entice others to take the same risk they are taking. They wish to pass laws that impose that risk on the rest of us. If they want to forego the freedoms forbidden to them by their religion because they feel that the spooky feeling they call the witness of the Holy Spirit is sufficient to justify that, they ought to be free to take that risk. However, if they want the rest of us to risk our freedom in the hope that doing so will be rewarded in the afterlife, they are going to have to give us a lot more convincing a reason than the spooky woo-woo feelings that they get. Believe what you want to believe. Live how you want to live. But if you want me to live that way, you have a heavy burden of proof to meet.